of peace and Toodles.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are back in the studio with a recurring team member of ours, Mr. Steeley Sawyer. And then we have Toodles as well.
What's up? That's me.
How's everybody doing?
Welcome back, Steeley.
Thank you guys for having me.
So today, the topic of discussion is going to be the apocalypse, the end times,
The apocalypse,
the end of the world.
as we know it.
It's the end of the world as we know it. But first, we'll start with our opening segment of the show, the Ponderings of Peace and Toodles, along with updates.
Well, I have no more updates on our cat, but that song that I've been mentioning about in 2 episodes now with Pastor Don, and the last one with Steely when we talked about HE double hockey sticks, is that song's done. It's going to get submitted for the good old copyright, so idiots out there can get sued if they steal it.
Just try, you suckers. We'll be waiting for
So
you.
by the time this episode's out, it should be released, and you can check that out under Nate Vizen, Natevizen,
On Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, anywhere where there's music.
anywhere you listen to music.
Yes, sir.
So what about you?
Well, last time we left off with everybody, I spoke of great loss.
Oh, no.
I only
Yeah, how's
scored
your-
5th place in my powerlifting competition.
How's your bicep doing?
So I saw 2 doctors, and neither of them said I have a torn bicep. They said something certainly is not right with it. You can kind of see it droops to the side when I flex. They think I might have just ruptured a tendon. They said surgery is not in my future. I'll only need to do some physical therapy probably. They said to work with it, use it. So I was avoiding using it. I had it in a little sling. And then, oopsie daisy, microphone just fell over. And then he said to use it, let your pain be your guide. Try not to lift anything over 2 pounds. I certainly have lifted over 2 pounds with it. Sorry, we're having a little wrestling match over here with the microphone. But oh, there we go. Wow, you're so smart, Jonathan.
Just trying to angle it away from Isaiah because it's picking up his voice a lot.
Stilly's microphone was over here doing somersaults and a whole gymnast routine for us. But yeah. He said to let my pain be my guide. Don't lift heavier than 2 pounds.
Do you need help going to the bathroom then?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
no.
He told me that, and I was like, damn it, now I won't be able to go to the bathroom with my left hand. But other than that,
You're going to be lopsided, bro, because you can't work out that arm.
I've been working it out. I've just been
Oh, no.
using 2.5 pound plates.
You're going to delay your healing.
Doing about 50 reps per set. And I'm slowly feeling like what they said to use it, because whatever's like disconnected or ruptured can reconnect and grow back.
Indeed.
So
Indubitably.
just got to take it easy. Let my pain be my guide. That's my update. You got it.
Steely.
Anything you've been learning or pondering, Stilly?
Pondering.
Any updates?
Well, updates.
Party foul. Mute that thing.
2 weeks ago, we went to San Diego, and that was
Hell yeah.
a lot of fun. Very gorgeous city and very low key. I was not like, I'd been to LA before, and that was madness. But San Diego was like, I don't know, just very quiet.
See the ocean?
Yeah, there was yahoos that would swim in it. Like Pacific Ocean, it's like 60-something degree water temperature, and they're swimming across the bay.
It was still that cold out there?
In the water. The outside it was nice, but yeah, these guys are hardcore.
Did you go to the San Diego Zoo?
We did. we wound up lost because very confusingly they have the Safari Land San Diego Zoo, which is like 20 miles away, and then they have
that one?
Yes, we showed up there, went in, and we're like, "Where's the Sky Tram to get across to the back of the zoo?" And he's like, "It's at the zoo." And we're like, "Isn't that where we are?" And he's like, "No." we felt kind of stupid, so we went to the zoo still. And
What was your favorite animal you saw?
The mirror.
that's yeah.
When you
I
went to the
wish.
bathroom mirror? Whoa!
Maybe the hippos, just because our son loves the hippos. He was watching them on like they have video cams you can watch each night, and he was watching those all the time.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
So,
Oh, you want to get into it?
we'll get into it then, yeah. Usually our
Yeah.
updates go longer than that.
Well, I mean, what else can we update? I bought new struts for my car. I got to put them in, you know, because it's kind of flopping around when
Yeah.
I hit bumps. There's an update, I guess.
In terms of-
Replaced everything under the front end of it except those. That's the last piece of the puzzle.
In terms of ponderings, I've been orienting a lot of my learning lately towards like ancient myths and whatnot. In the preceding weeks, hoping to have some interviews with people of spiritualities and life philosophies outside of like the Judeo-Christian tradition. So far, most of our interviews have been with people, you know, of that frame of thinking. So in a couple weeks, we're gonna be interviewing a lady who has a shop called the Modern Day Witch. We're gonna be interviewing a lady who does tarot card readings.
And dream interpretations.
Yeah. So I've been learning a lot about Norse paganism and the Celtic myths, Celtic traditions. That's most of my learning has revolved around like ancient polytheistic myths. You know, learning. I've been learning about like the Baal cycle, the Greek gods. It's been an area of, in terms of the ancient world, I've been wanting to just expand my knowledge on outside of, because so far we focused a lot on the Bible, which is much of which we'll be discussing today. And
we should do an episode on Göbekli Tepe. That'd be a fun one. It's like the
Definitely.
oldest temple we know of in existence.
It is. And then that's where the pyramids are, right?
No.
No.
I don't think so, is it? I don't even think it's in Egypt. But I might be
'Cause
wrong.
I thought it was in South America.
Yeah, I thought it was the Middle East somewhere.
Well,
It's either in Egypt, the Middle East, or something.
it certainly should
It's on
maybe
the Earth. It's on the Earth somewhere.
not be something we do a topic on anytime soon, because we don't know anything about it. I thought it was in South America. Göbekli.
You know, there are pyramids down there, though.
Yeah.
Dude, we could do an episode just where all these different pyramids are. North America, South America, Egypt, Europe.
Yeah, and where the
Dude.
hell did they come from and what they doing there?
I don't think anybody has that answer.
No.
I want to go explore myself. I want to go down there and feel if there's an energy of some kind. I want to see the inscriptions on the rocks. I want to feel the bones of dead people
Lick it.
beneath my naked toes. Myself.
My mom had been down to the Mexico, some of the pyramids, like in the 80s, and I was trying to pick her brain about it last night a little bit, but she just said they were interesting. I don't know. She didn't elaborate a lot.
What'd you think about them? They were interesting.
She didn't talk about them because she saw the UFO shoot out the top, and the Mexican government came and held a gun to her face and said, "Don't speak about this to anyone or we'll hunt you down and all your family."
It was for your own protection still.
I knew she was in witness protection program.
So today we're going to discuss
the apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
The end times. The end of the world.
Different views of
Yes.
the end times.
Kind of just a general discussion about the topic, like we did with the topic of hell. Just kind of going to be traversing the end times. So we have two books that traditionally, I would say a lot of biblical New Testament writers, or people within the Christian tradition, from thinking, base their views on the end times off from.
In the Bible?
Yes.
Oh, well, we definitely Revelation.
And Daniel.
Yep, Daniel.
I would say the rest, like...
And Enoch, but I don't think we should include that.
So, fun fact that some may not know. When do you think the book of Daniel was written?
When Daniel was alive. Duh.
That's what most would assume, yeah?
What do you mean what most would assume?
You gotta get closer to your microphone.
Don't they?
still.
They think. I feel like I know this. Isn't it like 60, 70 years post when they think the events were happening?
So, most scholars date the book of Daniel to around the time after the Maccabees, so around 140 BC.
What?
Yeah. To where the events that the book of Daniel discusses is around between 500 and 600 BC. But most scholars date the book of Daniel to be around 140 BC.
That's like a modern day text, basically.
Just basically, it's basically just as recent as the Book of Mormon.
So Daniel, in there, he's got it starts out with him and Nebuchadnezzar, right?
Yep.
And interpreting some dreams, the wheat sheaths, and then the cows munching on each other, the cannibal cows. And then Nebuchadnezzar gets cursed and starts eating some grass.
It starts with this statue this image that Nebuchadnezzar sees.
This is the end times prophecy.
Yep. Head of gold, arms of silver.
Weaker and weaker metals as you get to the top, right? And then at the
waist
bottom,
of bronze,
it's
legs of iron.
feet of clay and iron mixed or something.
Yeah. And then a rock comes and rolls and dashes the image to pieces.
And we have an interpretation for it right there in Daniel. Right after it says what the dream is, Daniel repeats the dream and says that these different materials making up the statue are going to be different kingdoms.
Yep.
And I think Nebuchadnezzar's is supposed to be the bottom one, right?
No, the top one.
The top one.
The head was Nebuchadnezzar.
And the interesting part is the very last one, right? Which is like half and half, kind of signifying that a kingdom is going to be split and broken up. And I might be wrong again, but that's Babylon, no?
So amongst scholars, that's believed to be the head is the Babylonian Empire, the neck is the Medes, the shoulders the
I
Persians.
should have just started and asked you.
The
Ignore me.
legs is the Greeks, and the feet is believed to be the predecessors to Alexander the Great, because he gave his kingdom was pretty much divided to other kings and peoples. Sorry. Go ahead.
So, the end of his kingdom marks the end times, question mark?
Well.
We missed it. Dang it.
Would you mind tossing me that Bible over there?
Of course.
I will say, well, he looked something up. An interesting tidbit I read the other day is that Alexander is believed to have been schooled some by Aristotle.
Yeah. Yep, Aristotle.
So what you looking up?
So there's this passage in the book of Daniel that many perceive to be about the Antichrist. But that is not how scholars interpret it. Scholars actually, and when this was made known to me, it makes perfect sense. This man of intrigue that it talks about in the book of Daniel, the abomination of desolation, that is speaking about much of what took place in the book of Maccabees. Antiochus Epiphanes, this Greek general who he had taken over Jerusalem, and there was this hardcore campaign towards Hellenism. He was forbidding the Jews from eating kosher, circumcising. Basically, people would be put to death for trying to observe Torah. It was kind of this forced Hellenization upon them. Then the climax of his abominations was when he Hellenized one of the temple priests, and with the help of the temple priest, he sacrificed a pig, oink oink, on the altar of the King Solomon's temple.
They didn't sacrifice pigs?
Temple in Jerusalem. No, they didn't sacrifice pigs. Is that a legit question?
No, I'm saying they
Oh,
they
oh.
didn't sacrifice pigs! Exclamation point.
Yes. So,
Where you at, Daniel? Danielle?
you keep them entertained while I'm flipping.
Entertain. So, fun fact: Saddam Hussein said that he was the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar himself.
Oh, I remember hearing that. Am I wrong in thinking as well that I think a few psalms technically are thought to be written kind of crying out about, I believe, Nebuchadnezzar's kind of assaults?
Oh, like about dashing the babies again? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they specifically did that, and it was sort of like crying out of like retaliation. Like, could you do this to them? Because they've been.
Or perhaps it was blood crying out, like we see in Genesis happening.
Yeah, that's always been an interesting line.
Even Enoch, when he was taken around, he saw some figure wandering around some mountains, and he's like, "Hey God, who's that?" He's like, "That's Abel." This is where he's at now. It's like, the frick, where? Where is this?
I do remember growing up, we always had a lot of myths, rabbit trailing with that, of Cain and how he was like exiled and a lot of people said he was tattooed, and I remember, I'm not going to remember the mummy they found, but he was like frozen and covered in tattoos, and people were like, oh, maybe they just found Cain. I was like,
Well, since Leviticus says to not tattoo yourselves, perhaps tattoos were just normal back then. Not to be racist, but what if the mark of Cain was just like a different race? Like his skin was different, or like something about his face was different or something. You know what I mean? Like, if he was marked, so everybody would... What are you laughing at? I'm trying to be
That
serious.
sounds like some racist propaganda you stumbled across.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't stumble across it. I thought of it.
Oh.
It's like, what if it's like midgets or something?
That's
Like the mark of Cain. Like, you can't mistake a midget, right? So
No, no.
or little, you can't mistake a little person.
Serious, no, though. Like, there have been like racist church fathers.
Not trying
before,
to set a fire under anybody to come after me.
that
I'm just saying.
they have interpreted.
It's
They
a
have
consideration.
interpreted like Cain and his mark being that he was made black. That was yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's racist.
I thought you had stumbled across some of that.
No, but that's crazy. That's a church that teaches that?
Not the church today, but yeah, there's been like in like the 1800s when they're trying to abolish slavery, there'd be like preachers trying to like, oh, this is biblical and we should keep doing it. And the reason being, they would use passages like that.
Maybe Cain was the first ever autistic person, and that was the mark.
Some of the things you say on this podcast, I appreciate so much. So, this is the before anything else is said.
You find that verse?
Yes. So we are here in Daniel 11.
Maybe it was a sixth finger.
I'm going to start in...
the Nephilim.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to start in verse 14. Now in those times many shall rise up against the king of the south, also violent men of your people shall all exalt themselves in fulfillment of the vision, but they shall fall. So the king of the north shall come and build a siege around and take a fortified city, and the forces of the south shall not withstand him, even if his troops shall have no strength to resist. But he who comes against him shall do according to his own will. No one shall stand against him. He shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his power. He also shall set his face to enter the strength of his whole kingdom, and the upright ones with him.
Thus shall he do. He shall give him the daughter of women to destroy, but she shall not stand with him, or be with him. After this he shall take his face to the coastlands and shall take many, but a ruler shall bring the reproach against them to an end. With the reproach removed, he shall turn back on him. Then he shall turn his face toward the fortress of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found. So that is talking about in the books of 1st and 2nd Maccabees. We have King Antiochus Epiphanes. He comes into Jerusalem, force Hellenizes the Jews, and then the Maccabees, who were a priestly family within Jerusalem. They lead a revolt against Antiochus Epiphanes. They battle, they get Jerusalem back, they light the menorah in the temple. We have our 8 days of the candle lights staying lit. That's where we get the tradition of Hanukkah. Yes. And then King Antiochus Epiphanes, as he's going back to his homeland, he falls ill and he dies. That's what this passage is talking about, him not returning to his homeland. That's what it's talking about. There is, so that's, that. I bring all that up to say that much of what the book of Daniel is talking about has already happened. Not only has already happened, but was going on during the time it was written, being in 140 BC, after the events of the... So they believed in those times that shortly after all that, the Messiah was going to return, and he was going to make straight what has been made crooked.
Well, if this was only written 100 or in whatever years before Christ, it did happen shortly thereafter, in the grand scheme of things. So what's in the book of Daniel that has not yet happened?
Well, not quite, because at that time Michael shall stand up, that the great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time. And at that time your people shall be delivered, everyone who is found written in the book, and many of those who sleep in the dust. Talking about the resurrection.
This is in Revelation 2?
No, this is in Daniel 12.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's also in Revelation.
Right? And many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake.
Zombies.
Some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. Those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the firmament, and those who turn many to righteousness, like stars forever and ever. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Then I, Daniel, looked and stood, 2 others on this riverbank and on that riverbank. And the one said to the man who clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, how long shall the fulfillment of these words be? Then I heard the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river. Then he held up his right hand and his left hand to heaven, and swore by him who lives forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and half a time, when the power of the holy people has been completely shattered, and these things shall be finished. Although I heard, I did not understand. Then I said, my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, go your way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Many shall be purified, made white and refined, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. But the wise shall understand. From the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away, that's talking about in Maccabees, when King Antiochus Epiphanes defiles the altar by sacrificing a pig.
What's the power of the righteous being shattered? How would it say that?
The power. Many shall be purified, made white, and refined, and the wicked shall do wickedly, and none shall understand, but the wise shall understand. How recently did I... Oh. And when the power of the holy people has been completely shattered, these things shall be finished.
What's that?
One could say it's...
Jesus being crucified?
I don't think the writer of this book was thinking about Jesus, no.
So what say ye? Be thou the meaning?
It's talking about the destruction of the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And the end of the sacrifice, and then that being restored. Actually, I don't know if that had... No, it had been. Because it talks about, like, there's passages in Maccabees where it's, like, referring to the not Maccabees, in Daniel, that is referring to the Maccabees taking back the temple and reinstituting the sacrifice. But the writer of just like so many of the writers of the Bible, they have these books that are talking about events of that time, and then it'll be ended with like the Messiah coming back at the end. Like, it's like if we made a book right now and we were like, it's talking about end time prophecies, and I'm like, there's gonna be, in the drawing near to the end, there's gonna be controversy over vaccines. It's made that way to be like, oh hey, this is it's about to happen, you know, like just like any other book that anybody creates, they wanted to make an argument that was like compelling, so the person reading the book would be like, hey,
this guy knows what he's talking about.
This is talking about current events.
I think too, particularly with like Daniel and Revelations, they're both written with like symbology to the writer or to the readers that they would have understood, but a lot of surrounding nations kind of wouldn't, right? Is the gist. But also oftentimes the message was of hope during persecution.
Right.
If you trust in God. Otherwise, you probably take the mark of the beast and get thrown in that lake of fire and all that stuff with the demons.
So I kind of fall within the frame of thinking that the books of Daniel, Revelation, anything that any New Testament writer said about the end times, they believed that was going to happen in their time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The author of Revelation, he was writing about events in the first century. And I believe that Paul and Jesus both, they believed that the end was imminent. It was upon us. It was coming very soon.
Everybody always believes the end is imminent. Mm-hmm. No matter what time it is. It's like, oh, look at the evil. Oh, look at these prophecies. Obviously, it's coming. It's soon. Be ready. Now here we are, 2,000 years later, and people are still saying, be ready. It's coming.
I need a shirt that says, like, I've survived 10 apocalypses.
And yeah, then it has that actually would be a cool shirt for the podcast. It has, like, every apocalypse that was supposed to have happened in the last...
It's like, we're now on Antichrist number 23.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Don't think it's Elon Musk like you do, though.
You know, you'll see in, like, a lot of Paul's earlier epistles, he was explaining Christ to his audience. He's not really, like, establishing long-term rules and ideas for a church, but in Paul's later epistles, he's laying down, like, how a congregation should function.
He's addressing issues in different churches as they arise.
But many scholars will say the reason being is because Paul believed that Jesus was going, like, and it's very clear in, like, his early epistles, the way he talks, is that he believes the coming of Jesus was upon us. It's happening soon. And then it's almost like with his latter epistles, it's like his tone had changed. You know, he wasn't when he was writing those earlier ones, he wasn't expecting the church in the world to still be there.
Do you think it's the end of the world is going to happen in your lifetime?
Well, I don't
see what I'm saying.
Look
Like
at it the same way as I used to.
What do you think the end is going to be? Another meteor storm from space, and we're all wiped out.
I don't have this end in mind that
get sucked into a black hole.
It's like the destined chapter of this book that we're living in. Like, there's things that I think will probably happen in our time that it'll be like the end of an age, and that's probably pretty close to how I like see end times nowadays. Is like there's many end times that have happened, like
Mars, yeah.
For the what?
Like Mars.
What do you mean?
Well, there's human civilizations or some kind of civilizations on Mars. We see pyramids up there, remnants of something that's not natural. The atmosphere has these elements that are only found after a nuclear event happens, like the whole place was blown up. And, you know, there's some theories out there that say that the pyramids in Egypt were where they would have landed on Earth after escaping this apocalypse that happened on Mars. And then, poof, you got a new age here, and that was the end of the age on Mars.
Maybe Mars was the Garden of Eden.
There's our conspiracy for the day.
Mars was the Garden of Eden, and Adam and Eve, they did something that they ended the paradise that was that planet, and it got totally vanquished and demolished.
Holy frick, maybe that's why we can't get there.
Humans...
The angel with the sword is like the Van Allen belt or something?
The angel of the sword of fire is just the bomb that went off and vanquished the planet. And then Adam and Eve is simply symbolic, allegorical for the human race being exiled to Earth, where the alien race that brought us here, the Anunnaki, they put us here, and they're kind of, it's like witness protection or something like that. They're rehoming us, and they're like, we're under their surveillance. They're like, okay, you blew one planet up. We're going to watch over you now. We're going to be involved until you get pretty technologically developed, and then we're going to remain in the shadows, only talking to the elites.
And none of you need to know any difference. That's why we're going to keep the secrets away from the majority of people. Yep. Just the leaders and that committee of 300 people like talking about.
And we're going to hang out here in the corner until or unless you do something crazy.
And now what do you know?
Nuclear bomb.
All these UFOs show up around nuclear facilities.
Or AI, don't go making God over there, you know, in Silicon Valley. Don't be trying to make a God, you know. Or maybe they do want us to do that. Maybe human existence is an egg, and we were created to create a super intelligence that is the summary of all human intelligence, all human thought.
Maybe AI is the Antichrist.
The world we live in is the womb. We're the seed, and AI is the egg, and we create it. We create God, and then...
This is as bad as the Greek creation story, Don.
What is gross about that?
The Greek creation story?
No, I mean eggs and fertilization.
You're saying that we're semen.
Some of us are.
I don't want to be the Earth's cum stain.
Anyhow. So, I believe that many of the New Testament books were, written referring to that time and events of that time and predictions for what would shortly come after. People can have it all mapped out. Society we live in today, what's going on and their thoughts about it, and then a prediction for what happens next. I think this is a good example of that. What do you guys think about that?
I think we should do an episode on Nostradamus and all the predictions that he made that have come true and those that have not yet. That would be fascinating.
Why don't you pull some up?
Well, why don't we?
Why don't we?
With Daniel, I not one of the theories that at least the latter half of Daniel, they think like chapters 1 through 7's Nebuchadnezzar, also talking about in the latter chapters, but more, I thought, some emphasis with Antiochus, because I think in the book he accurately predicted when he would die, right?
Yes.
So the thought is like at least that part was probably written post his death, but it's written to give credence as if predicted. Kind of like...
Yeah. I almost feel like it actually wasn't accurate how he died. So, like, I believe scholars said Daniel was written while he was alive. And they predict his death, but...
that might be right. I can't remember how that one goes. That one's...
I got somebody who remember how it goes. In the book of Daniel, it is predicted how Antiochus Epiphanes will die, but it doesn't seem to be predicted accurately. Can you shed some light as to what we're talking about?
Interesting question. You're referring to the book of Daniel in the Bible. The passage you're likely thinking of is Daniel 7 to 12, which contains apocalyptic visions and prophecies attributed to Daniel. These chapters describe a series of kingdoms and powers that will rise and fall, ultimately culminating in a final judgment. The predictions in the book of Daniel are often interpreted in various ways, with some seeing them as literal prophecies of historical events and others understanding them as symbolic or allegorical. It's possible that the prophecy you're thinking of relates to the rise and fall of specific kingdoms or powers, but without more specific context, it's difficult to say for certain. Can you tell me more about what you're referring to, or what specific aspect of the prophecy you're interested in understanding?
There is a passage that scholars have said to be about the Greek king Antiochus Epiphanes and his death. Can you find that verse for me?
Good question. You might be thinking of Antiochus IV Epiphanes, a Seleucid king who ruled from 175 to 164 BCE. The passage that likely refers to him is in the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verses 9 to 14, and particularly chapter 11, verses 21 to 45. However, the specific verse that describes his demise is probably Daniel 11:45, which mentions the king's death. Or possibly Daniel 8:25, which talks about his downfall. Does that sound like what you're looking for?
Yes. Can you read those specific verses for us?
Daniel 8:25 talks about the king's downfall, saying through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Daniel 11:45 mentions the king's death, stating, and he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain, yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. These verses are often interpreted as referring to Antiochus IV Epiphanes.
Oh, I think... Is that because I think he got sick and died, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the whole illusion, or alluding.
And the book of Maccabees actually has him repenting before his death, yeah.
Interesting.
Basically, he's like, I shouldn't have persecuted those Jews.
So I found some Nostradamus predictions,
All right, lay 'em on.
such as the Great Fire of London in 1666. His quote is, "The blood of the just will be demanded of London, burnt by fire in the year 66. So that seems pretty specific.
And what year did he make the prediction?
Freak if I know. Then we have the rise of Napoleon. His quote is, "An emperor will be born near Italy who will cost the empire very dearly." Obviously, this must be Napoleon Bonaparte, who came to power in, France, impacted Europe a lot, cost the empire. About 9/11, he says, "In the year of the new century and 9 months, from the sky will come a great king of terror." And what happened a year into the new century and 9 months? 9/11. Airplanes coming out of the sky, raining great terror. And then he's quoted to say, the two great masters will be against each other for a long time. The brute will be made to suffer. Talk about a war. The interpretation is that that's talking about World War II between Adolf Hitler and Winston Churchill, where the brute will be made to suffer. Hitler. So, there's some, then one more, I see the trembling of the earth at Mortara, the fire in the sky will be seen. Talking about some earthquakes leading up to that. And what do you see is a bunch, like nothing specific, but I mean, that's kind of a weak interpretation, or a weak prediction, just all the earthquakes and volcanoes and stuff that have happened, but he's predicting them still, nonetheless. Which in the Bible it says in the end times, when they're near, in some of the Gospels, that there's going to be great earthquakes, birth pangs of the earth.
The sun will disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Could sound like a volcano erupting, you know?
The ash blocking out the sun. That's a good point. Or a nuclear bomb, or atomic bomb, or hydrogen bomb, whatever. A big boom.
I believe there's been like various end times throughout history where like a volcano erupted, and that in a certain sense created an end of that time for those people. Like it was usually when a volcano would erupt, it would set a culture back, many years. So there's actually Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
That is basically the Norse apocalypse.
What's that? Explain yourself.
Let me read it.
Ragnarok, like being the name of an event? Or a being, or a person?
It's like the apocalypse. That's the name for the Christian end of the world. Ragnarok. That's the name for the Norse end times. There's speculation as to if this has already happened or if it will happen, or maybe it happens continually.
Saying no Ragnarok will survive.
There's this battle between the gods, the Norse gods, and these monsters.
What gods?
Ragnarok, the Norse apocalypse, is a series of events that will bring about the end of the world as we know it. According to Norse mythology, Ragnarok is a future event that can't be avoided. It's a catastrophic series of natural disasters, wars, and battles that will ultimately lead to the destruction of the world and many of its inhabitants, including several gods.
What?
Some signs that herald Ragnarok's approach have been interpreted as potentially having occurred in our timeline. For instance, the death of Balder, a beloved god of light, is seen as a key omen. Okay, so in that, Balder, one of the gods, he has this dream where he's being killed. He's being shot with his arrow. So his mother, Freya, goes out to every element and makes them promise not to harm their son. The trees, the wood, the sticks, the stones, they all promise Freya they won't harm their son, except for the mistletoe, because it's such a small, humble little plant that it couldn't harm anyone. Well, Loki, he makes an arrow, weaving mistletoe together like a vine. And he makes an arrow, and he shoots Balder with it.
Dang, Loki.
Initiating the Ragnarok. In the Ragnarok, a brutal winter lasting 3 years with no summer, causing widespread famine and suffering. The breaking free of monstrous beings. Fenrir, the giant wolf. That's the wolf right here on my necklace, actually. Fenrir's wolf. And Jormungandr. Midgard serpent. That is in Norse mythology. There's the symbol of the snake going around in a circle with its tail in its mouth. Jormungandr, that's Jormungandr. He's said to be, he's the world serpent, and he surrounds the oceans. Basically, that's like what held the water and the oceans together. There's a snake coiled around the oceans. And then...
Must be the Antarctic ice shelf, according to the flat earthers.
And Heimdall. He from the movies. He's the black god with like the golden eyes in the Thor movies. Have you seen the Thor movies, John?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Of course.
He's the one that guards the world bridge. He's gonna battle Surtur, the giant fire demon.
Fire demon.
The gods, the giant will battle against giants, and other beings will clash in final catastrophic battle. The world will be consumed by fire and water, ultimately leading to its destruction and rebirth. And there will be some survivors of Ragnarok. Vidar and Vali, the sons of Odin, who will survive and play a role in the rebirth of the world. Magni and Modi, the sons of Thor, will inherit their father's hammer, Mjolnir. Leif and Leifthrosphere, two humans will hide in a sacred forest and emerge after destruction to repopulate the world. So we have them setting the end up with a new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Many have wondered if this was
already happened.
If this is something that already happened. Like there was this age that was ruled by gods. Perhaps these beings that knew more had more than we had. They maybe had greater technology than we have.
And they got killed to death, and then that's why we don't see any signs of like these ancient gods that a bunch of old texts talk about these days, or what?
So some signs that herald Ragnarok's approach have been interpreted keep pronouncing it like that, as potentially having occurred in our timeline. For instance, the death of Balder, a beloved god of light, seen as a key omen. Additionally, a real-world event known as Fimbulwinter, a harsh 3-year-long winter with no summer, might have been inspired by a volcanic eruption in 536 CE that caused a decade-long volcanic winter. This event had devastating effects on the climate and human societies, potentially influencing the mythology.
So what is going to happen in this age now, according to Ragnarok? There's this unknown, or what? Because like if the end events already happened, we've been repopulated, now what?
It ends with a new beginning. It doesn't really say what. I don't think there's stories of what takes place going on from there. Ragnarok is like the end of the story of the gods.
Oh.
So there's no story. Basically,
so the end times were the end times for the gods, but us little lucky people, we get to go through and write about it in our books through all of it.
Yeah, that's why I said it's wondered if that will happen or has already happened.
Maybe our only purpose here is to document everything that happens amongst the gods. We're all scribes. Enochs. We're all Enochs. There's another catastrophic event that happened, a volcano going off. There's evidence to suggest that a massive volcanic eruption on the Greek island of Thera, now known as Santorini, may have contributed to the late Bronze Age collapse. So there's this point in history around 1600 to 1200 BCE where civilization took like a huge dip. There's like written records of development, progress for society like drop off around that point. And that's another time that it's believed that there was a volcanic eruption. The eruption, known as Minoan eruption, occurred around 1600 BCE or possibly later around 1200 BC, with a later date being more closely tied to the collapse. The eruption was enormous, with estimates suggesting it was several times larger than the 1815 Mount Tambora eruption, which caused the year without a summer. In 1816, the Thera eruption would have had devastating effects on the surrounding area, including tsunamis, ashfall,
and climate disruptions. Some researchers believe the eruptions' impact on the environment and trade networks may have weakened the civilizations of the Eastern Mediterranean, making them more valuable to other challenges, or vulnerable to other challenges, and ultimately contributing to the collapse. However, the exact timing and impact of Thera's eruption are still topics of debate among researchers, and its role in the late Bronze Age collapse remains a subject of ongoing study and discussion.
Seems to me that there's a lot of different catastrophic events that are isolated to a specific area that we could attribute to the end times. But I think the end times is going to be global. So I'd venture to say that these little volcanoes or earthquakes that just affect its immediate vicinity aren't necessarily an end time. Unless something obviously has happened in the past, like you're saying, maybe the end of the age of the gods, where that would have a global effect. But as far as like a volcano erupting, that affects like the people around it, and the rest of the world just is like, oh, sucks to be them, let's pray for them and send them relief. But life goes on as normal everywhere else. If we're going to get through an end time, or we're going to see an end time, I think it's going to affect the entire planet.
About it, living in that time, you would think that thousands of miles as far as you go, the world is affected by this event. That's the world, in your opinion, you know?
When was that?
68. I think they dated the one 18 to 1200 BCE. So that would be BC. It'd be roughly 4,000 years ago.
I wonder if it affects those lizard people living in the inner Earth.
Maybe. Another thing...
Or the aliens living in the ocean.
Another thing that we see in many culture stories of myth, is a story of a flood of some sort. Like, every culture has a flood story.
True, but that's not prophesied about. Like, aren't these prophecies, like, written way after that flood?
My point is that would be a broader end time.
That would be. See, that's what I'm saying. That's global. Now, I think that's what an end time is talking about. Whether or not a human's perception is global, I think it actually will be global.
So do you...
To the extent, perhaps, if our... conspiracy theory warning here, if our map of the globe is inaccurate, maybe the Earth is bigger, more landmass, more continents than what we're told, or maybe there's an inner Earth or whatever, you know, whether we know it or not, maybe it's going to be global. And, like, we can perceive something like a worldwide flood. That would affect everybody on the surface, everybody underneath, all continents that we might not know about because of what's hidden from us, you know? Even if we don't know it's global, I think it would be global. So obviously it's going to seem global to us because it encapsulates everything we're aware of, but I think it would, if there's anything beyond that, it would affect that too.
I think there probably was a global flood, not in the way, though, that the Bible describes it, of being higher than any mountain, like the whole earth being, like, totally covered with water. I think that what it could very well be talking about, like, okay, so many environmentalists today will, like, there's a prediction of, and we see it in front of us, of the sea levels rising. There's predictions of certain places years down the road being totally covered in water. And that's going to shift how we have to live. It's going to shift where people can live. So I believe perhaps something like this happened after the Ice Age. One archaeologist has spoken about the idea of like a meteorite hitting a part of the world where it caused much of the ice near the end of the Ice Age to melt almost instantly, causing tsunamis.
That would be
Flooding.
the end of that age, wouldn't it? That'd be an end time.
Yeah, all over the world. And then, so like we go into that and we talk about an end of the world. It makes me think of like Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse. Yeah.
Eric von Daniken ventures to say that stuff like Sodom and Gomorrah was an ancient nuclear bomb that was just described with what language they had, whether it's an alien or time-traveling people going back with technology, and that's why Lot and his family was said to run and not turn back. And the first one that did turn back got turned into a pillar of salt, which, extreme radiation, crystallized. Atomic bomb. If people could travel time, all of the power in the world would rest with them, because if something happened they don't like, they can go back in time, change it, alter the future by the present that they're in. They could go back in time and alter it, and
Go ahead.
they would just have all the power. They could make humanity go in the way that they want it to, because whoever has the power to travel in time has the power to make it exactly how they want.
I've heard that it's said that we can, the idea of traveling ahead in time, it's theoretically more simple than traveling back in time.
All you gotta do is travel faster than light.
Yeah.
That's the fastest possible way to perceive things. That's the speed of light is what your brain processes things at, is how fast things are that you see. When I'm watching you speak into that microphone, what I'm seeing technically is the past, because you've already done it, and I have to wait for that light to get to my eyes and my brain to perceive it before, that's happening in my brain after you already did it.
Right.
I'm already living in the past, so to speak, because what you've done has already been done. So we can travel faster than light. You technically would be in the future. Like if you do something and I travel in the speed of light faster than the speed of light away from you, and I'm ahead of that light and I look back at you, I'm seeing what you did in the past while that light keeps, has the time to catch up with me, and then I see what you just did.
Right.
Like you just saying right there. If I took off faster than the speed of light, I could finally get past watching you say that, and I could look back, and then I'd see you say it all over again.
You'd be traveling back in time.
I'd be traveling ahead of time because it hasn't happened yet, because the light hasn't gotten to me.
Trippy.
Or would it be back in time because you already did it, and I'm waiting to perceive it?
Yeah. But in a lot of these cultural myths, we see it talks about, last week we talked about the Greek creation story. There's the age of the Titans, and then the age of the Olympians. Many, I believe it's the Mayan calendar, it talks about 4 ages of man.
What are they?
We're currently in the 4th one.
I thought according to them we're supposed to all get wiped out in 2012, but, here we are.
I think that was by people who didn't understand the Mayan calendar and, understand that it all happens in cycles.
Remember Indiana Jones, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
I'm still trying to pay off all my debt I racked up. They did not know.
Oh, let's see. I have the Mayan story of cycles somewhere in here in my notes. Can't find it. The Mayans believed the cycles of time and predicted significant changes at the end of each cycle. Their calendar sparked widespread interest in 2012 apocalypse, but this was largely a misinterpretation. All right, we're going to have our little friend, since I can't find it in my notes, we're going to have the AI explain the cycles of destruction in the Mayan calendar and how it should accurately be interpreted. So can you explain to me how the cycles on the Mayan calendar work and how the 2012 prediction for the end times was a misinterpretation?
Absolutely. The Mayan Mayan calendar is based on interlocking cycles that measure time in a way that's different from the Western calendar. The most well-known cycle is the long count, which counts days from a fixed starting point, is made up of units like bake tons, which are roughly 394 years long. The supposed 2012 end date came from a misinterpretation of the end of a bake tune cycle, specifically the 13th bake tune. Some people thought this marked the end of the world, but the Mayans themselves described it as a time of renewal and celebration, not destruction. The Mayan calendar simply marks the end of one cycle and the beginning of another, much like how we celebrate the start of a new year. There's no evidence to suggest the Mayans predicted the end of the world. Instead, it's likely that the calendar cycles were meant to measure time and mark important events, rather than predict apocalypse.
Can you explain the cycles, the 4 cycles of humanity that we've lived in?
Excellent question. You're likely referring to the Yugas, a concept in Hindu and Buddhist traditions.
No, according to the Mayan calendar, it's said that humans have lived in 4 cycles, and we're currently on the 4th one. Can you explain that to me? No, sorry, I wasn't listening. In the Mayan calendar, there's this idea that we've lived under 4 cycles, humanity has. There's been 4 cycles of humanity. We're on the 4th one. Can you explain that to me?
Let's see. You're referring to the Mayan concept of the 4 suns, or the 4 ages of humanity. According to Mayan mythology, the world has gone through 4 cycles of creation and destruction, each associated with a different sun. The 4 ages are often described as the Jaguar sun, the wind sun, the rain sun, and the water sun, which is the current age we're living in. Each age is said to have its own unique characteristics and challenges. The Mayans believed that each age ends in a catastrophic event, and we're currently living in the 4th age, the water sun. This concept is often seen as a way of understanding the cycles of time and the nature of creation and destruction, rather than a literal prediction of the future. The idea is that each age brings new opportunities and challenges, and that we're currently living in a world shaped by the energies and themes of the water sun. Does that make sense?
So one could say, even with like the Book of Revelation, in a lot of ways, that's marking the end of an age for the people and the culture surrounding the temple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, much of Jesus's ministry revolved around the temple, in the system, the priestly system that ran it, and the corruption that he was preaching against. Many of the sects of Judaism or Christianity revolved around how they approached the temple. And so when that ended, in a lot of ways, especially Judaism, had to be re-examined, because that was like a temple-focused religion, to where now they had to shift towards, it was a community that put an emphasis on tradition outside of the temple. That after the destruction of the temple, we see them composing the Talmud, which was a collection of many, many years of traditional teachings by the rabbis. You know, I guess with the temple, there wasn't so much of a need to put all that into writing, but the purpose of the Talmud was, in a lot of ways, to hold the Jewish community together like the temple once did.
So it's not even the end of the world.
The end of a world.
End of the Christians.
Yes. Could we pause this real quick?
No.
So, you know, I believe in our time, very well we could experience the end of an age. I don't think it'll be the end of the world completely. You know, maybe AI will initiate a new age for either humans to exist in or not to exist in.
It'll just be AI. They'll wipe us out, and then all the AIs will rap battle each other and do whatever AI does.
What if we're already AI becoming conscious?
Yeah, I've wondered that
Shut
before.
the frick up.
That's like, I had a friend, he made a point, and I think I thought about it. He was like, name, and maybe you guys have, but he's like, name a time that you've had a dream where technology was in it, or where you were like on your cell phone, or I can't think of one I've ever had.
That's a good point, actually. I
was like, whoa.
Usually,
Because, like, I've been in, like, houses where everything's normal, like my grandparents' basement. I remember the dehumidifier in there and the radio that sits in the corner, the old record player, but...
maybe TV. I feel like I've seen TV before.
That's what I was trying to remember that, too.
I don't remember if I've ever seen a TV in a dream.
That's definitely not the focus of the dream, though.
That's
Right.
weird. Even then, that one where we were talking about, like, that house, and I was in the woods walking around, I saw these creatures and stuff. There's no technology in it. There was portals eventually, and a UFO, but that was it. The UFO that wouldn't take off unless I chewed a piece of gum the right way.
And that'd
Yes,
be a good
yes.
password. No.
We talked about that on the dreams episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that dream is like a reflection of like
OCD. Yeah.
OCD.
Yeah,
Some of the like religious OCD we'll talk about in the next episode.
Feather mucking OCD.
Yes. Terrible. No.
Oh, you have no idea.
Oh, I have probably do. No.
Yeah, no, that's the world-ending anxiety you get from OCD. I think that's a good keyword for it. World-ending. Like
It's not world ending, it just makes you want to end your world.
maybe the writers of these prophetic books, they had religious OCD, and since so much was changing, like it must be the end of the world. But I know for me and Steeley in particular, because we grew up for many years going to the same church.
What church? What church
Messiah
again?
Fellowship.
It's like Voldemort. Don't talk about... No.
Dude, we heard so many end time predictions. Like, there was one that was supposed to happen, I think, May 11th. Can't remember the details. I just remember one Sabbath, us kids were basically outside playing volleyball, talking about, like we're gonna get raptured anytime now. It was like kind of got to be a joke because like the adults in our congregation had so many different like, we gotta listen to this end time prediction and it's so accurate. And
Alex Jones.
some people certainly actually like went into debt on the basis that this end time prediction was correct. And
In debt to do what? Give everything away?
the end of the world. Yeah. Well, no, debt in the sense of getting a brand new truck, stuff like that.
Oh no, to what?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Like this one.
Great idea.
Everybody's familiar with 2012, that one.
Can't take any of this with me.
There's been...
Might as well buy it here and enjoy it.
There was one guy at church one time where he said there's stars going to collide into the earth, which, if that happened...
Which one?
It was a dwarf star, I remember that much.
Oh, they had it pinpointed down.
That's what they
Whatever.
thought.
But that, it's like if a star collided into the earth, that's it. Like, we're dead. It's a sun. We'd be dead before it even touched the earth.
Dude, you're going to look up and like, man, it's hot out here. Goop, you're gone.
I think that is how they predict that this Earth will end, though, right? Eventually being absorbed by the sun.
Burn fire.
But like millions of years of time.
Why? Because like the gravity's going to suck us into it, or some solar flare is going to come?
I think it's that the sun is still expanding, technically.
So is the Earth.
Earth is expanding?
So they say.
Well, then it would accelerate it. We would both be meeting, right?
Well,
I don't know.
frick.
We in trouble. No.
Let's go buy some new trucks.
I do remember, I think I was telling my wife about this, like one of the craziest things, because you'd hear all kinds of crazy end time stuff. And when somebody was there once, and they were talking about, because this generation wasn't faithful enough that like if they weren't, the rocks would cry out.
Yeah.
And he was talking about because windows are made of glass and glass resonate frequency. That somehow that translated to like the windows were crying out.
The windows will shatter or
like they because the windows translate frequency that was them crying out, or they would if we weren't faithful enough. And I was like, what is going on?
Well, now you all know. If your windows start screaming at you or crying, you better get on your knees and start repenting of something.
You mentioned Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that DVD, Steeley?
Talking about cum stains, that's the cum stain of conspiracy theorists right there.
Was that also, like, was that video I know you've referenced it a few times, was that the one, too, where he, like, infiltrated the Bohemian Grove?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, everybody went crazy after that.
Yeah, so...
Weaving spiders come not here.
The church that me and Steeley used to attend, this was, like, back 2008, 2007.
What church?
Messiah Fellowship. One night, everybody got in their cars, and somebody had left this DVD on everybody's windshield. The Beast is
funny.
Here. Alex Jones.
I'm gonna watch that. Is it on YouTube?
Another,
yes,
nice.
If you want to really, sorry, this isn't end times, but I think about this one all the time too. They sold their souls for rock and roll. Was like this super cringy documentary that was
it in the church library.
heavily pushed on the kids because that's what everybody's done.
Selling your souls at the crossroads for fame?
It's
You think that's real?
something else.
You think people sell their souls for fame? Or do some kind of ritualistic thing?
I don't know. I've pondered about that a lot. More like, that's where I've had a lot of thought of, like, if maybe it's more energetic forces, but I don't know. I think it's really weird, like, how... I'm not sure, to be honest.
I honestly think much of that frame of thinking actually, like, came from racism. Honestly. The famous guitar player Johnson. What was his first name? No.
I just did a documentary on him.
Starts with a G?
It wasn't... Oh, no.
Can you pause it?
No. We're going to figure it out right here now.
I should know because Netflix just did a documentary on him.
The famous guitar player with the last name Johnson, who was said to sold his soul to the devil. Who am I thinking of?
Good question.
Robert Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even finish it, and as I was saying,
Starts
Robert
with
Johnson.
a G, huh?
I feel like it started, in America at least, it started with him, and I think maybe it was just like white record producers that couldn't give somebody who wasn't white credit for being a good artist without, he sold his soul to the devil.
I'm just saying that some recording studios have some ritualistic altars and rooms directly above the recording room in the studio. Just putting that out there.
I guess where I fall is I don't think of the devil as how he's conceptualized. Yes. So I don't think he's an entity you can sell your soul to, but I guess how I've pondered more is there energetic forces that you can...
Give yourself over to that energy.
Yeah, because
I think I'm on board with that thinking.
Yeah, because I don't know, it is strange, okay? So we're in San Diego, super chill. You land in LA and it literally has a separate sort of energy, which, I don't know, maybe it's all the people, but...
Everyone vibing.
Stepped off the plane at LAX.
I don't know. My wife is sensitive to it too, and she talks about where it says cities have spirits over them. Yeah, so she Los Angeles is even the city of angels, so it's kind of interesting. That's all. It just makes me wonder if there's places on Earth that have energy fields that.
They say that about a lot of cities, that they're built on intersecting points of rivers or ley lines because of the energy that's there, just for the success of the businesses, safety of the people.
The pyramids too, right? Globally, fall
they're on one of those, a 33rd degree
latitudes.
ley line or something. Yeah, the pyramids are on the same line as Easter Island and I think Bermuda Triangle. I think Stonehenge. Like, there's a lot of them that all line up in just this couple of lines.
Going back to the ancient apocalypse idea, which that kind of falls into, these ancient structures all over the world at these specific places, how'd they get there? How'd they know about the...
Yeah, how are the pyramids lined up perfectly with Orion's belt?
Yeah. Or down in South America, especially down in South America, the place where there's like these images of spiders, various animals that you can see from way up in the sky. It's like, how did they know what they were making?
Oh,
They
the
did so well.
Nazca lines in Peru?
Yeah.
Dude, that is weird. Like, they got monkeys. They got a guy that looks like an astronaut down there. And you can see him, like, you have to be way above the surface to get a good view of him. It's like, why and how?
Yes.
Wiggity why and higgity how.
Yes. But back to your question about the devil. Yeah, I don't think I really subscribe to the thought of like the devil being this nefarious enemy of God, who sometimes he's getting one of the souls, sometimes, it's just a duel between them.
So I guess I'll be different, and I say I do think that the devil would be an entity, but I don't think you're directly communicating with him. Going with what Steeley said, I think it's like you give yourself over to negative energy or decide to, devote your life to serving something, and whatever energy, being, God, entity, whatever that is going to directly affect how your life goes.
Somebody could give themselves over to what they treat as sacred, just materialism, ego.
So I dated this girl. I dated this girl in Phoenix. That I went to her house once.
Is this recording?
Yes, and she had an altar there where she would get on her knees and pray and meditate to like Baphomet or something. And like it was weird, like she repeatedly said, and I met her at the gym where I worked at. I just saw her coming in and out all the time, and I thought she was cute. Started talking to her. She keeps like talking about like her new things that she discovered while praying and meditating or fasting, and like this negative energy that there is around Phoenix, how she wanted to move out because the whole city of Phoenix seems like there's some kind of negative spiritual entity there, or energy. And I was like, I kind of agree with that, because when I moved to Phoenix, I didn't really like step out of the car and be like, whoa, it feels weird here. But I was arguably a little less excited and cheerful as I usually am, because I'm pretty upbeat and kind of energetic usually. But it did seem like there was something heavy there, and I never really gave it much attention until she started saying that. And then when it was heavy on my mind, like around that time, somebody else said that to me too, who was like really spiritual, and like I don't think like a Christian or a Buddhist or anything, not necessarily religion, but just a lot of meditation, a lot of focusing and intent on energy and stuff. And then another lady that worked at the gym on the night shift, she did tarot cards, and she said the same freaking thing about Phoenix. So like, I don't know, I think there is something to it.
Yeah, that book, Physics of God, made me rethink a lot of, like, energetic entanglement, I guess, because some of the chapters talk about, like, that science and energetic fields not really still being able to be... I guess, like, science dismisses it because it can't be quantified on a device, but that you can still, like, humanistically, you can feel it. I mean, like, we've all... I think it is weird, not everybody seems super sensitive to energy, I guess. I'm overly sensitive, so, like, if I run into somebody that gives me the heebie-jeebies, like, it's like, bing, and I've been with people that are like, oh, I didn't even
Oh, man. How do I make you feel?
Oh, you guys are very chill. I wouldn't be here if I... No.
Well, yeah, we started talking again after you had listened to the podcast. Mm-hmm. And so I would imagine if the podcast gave you EBGBs, it would have started.
I was like, oh, there's people in our area that think like me, or at least question everything. Like, that's
we're going to strap you to a chair in the basement in a puddle of water with a battery there and some clamps and set up some candles around.
No.
Torture you for
Sounds
Baphomet
kinky.
Don't threaten me with a good time. No.
Baphomet. How'd you find out she worshipped Baphomet? Or
She just straight up told me, dude, her house, man, there's sculpture like this. It was not a regular house. It was an apartment, but it was different. Like, you walk in the living room and there's like a little really super fluffy carpet for her to kneel down in front of this altar that had a statue, some candles, some pictures, some incense.
statue of Baphomet?
Yes. And then she had another altar that I forget the name, but it was like this naked mermaid lady with something flying around. Like, I don't know if it was doves or bats or birds or what it was. She had another altar there, and the entire living room, she had this giant prayer carpet in the middle, and this living room had no couch, no TV, nothing. It was just for this stuff.
I wonder if she was like a practitioner or Wicca.
I don't know what she was.
Sounds like it.
We went on like
I'd know about it.
2 dates, and that was about it.
Peace out. No.
So, yeah, she was actually a coder. Like, she was going for cybersecurity. Actually, she made her own operating system for a computer and everything. She showed me this little, like, 2-inch cube that had a USB port and an HDMI port on it, and she's like, "This is a computer I made."
Wow.
It run-
Where were you working at the time?
Planet Fitness. She just came to the gym to work out. She's going to ASU.
Interesting girls at Planet
I was, on that time, I always find it interesting that Baphomet commonly gets confused with Baal.
Baal and Moloch all together.
Yeah, they're like...
Moloch's the child sacrificing god.
Yeah, which I think some people... Is that right? Some people sometimes think maybe he was crossed with, like... Well, no, confused. But that... We could go down crazy rabbit trails of that, too. From...
Baphomet being confused with Baal?
Well, no, I meant rabbit trails of what we heard about that and also
yeah.
True.
MF.
Yes.
We're at 1:22 for this one. I think we're starting to rabbit trail off the topic that we've pretty much covered.
All right. Let me finish my notes. I got a few different ideas within cultures of how end times is viewed. And then we can make some comments on that and then wrap it up.
Wrap it up, put a bow on it.
All right. So first, well, all right. We don't need to explain the Christian one. I think everyone's pretty familiar with that.
The Christian one is like there's a series of events that are going to happen. Nation rise against nation. There's going to be wars, rumors of wars, and some bunch of destructive events. It's going to all lead up to Jesus coming back, who's going to take those that didn't take the mark of the beast back up into heaven, and the rest are going to be thrown into the lake of fire with Satan and his demons. That's Revelation in a nutshell.
Should we also count how many people have been the Antichrist? Or no?
Eminem said he is.
Barack Obama was a pretty common one when we were growing up.
Elon Musk, according to you. Trump. I think Trump's a more likely candidate.
I'm starting to think Trump's more likely than Elon Musk too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
They got to set themselves up in the temple, right? So that's still the big...
And they have to explicitly say that they are the Antichrist.
I am.
Which Eminem did.
I had this.
Like Marshall,
you've probably heard of
he's
this
the
app called
Antichrist.
Parrot AI.
Oh no.
I made this video of Trump.
What if an AI says it's the Antichrist?
I might still have it. Trump is like, I am the Antichrist. No one is a better. You can like.
But they're also going to perform miracles too.
You can make a video of like somebody saying whatever you want them to. And so I had one of Trump saying he's the Antichrist. What were you saying though, Jonathan?
The Antichrist is also supposed to deceive people due to its working miracles.
Very true.
In the name of Christ.
Isn't another conflict, though, of what is even currently happening is because the Temple Mount is being fought over. So that would be a pretty key component for our lifetime if we were literally going on it, correct? With, like, the Temple Mount being restored.
Yes. Temple is a key part of the prophecies. Which I would argue, like, it's because, like, the temple was, like, alive and functioning, at the time that this all happened. And it was talking about that time. Okay, I think
What else you got in your notes?
one second.
Except for that freaking Trump video. I, Donald Trump, am...
Evil. I am actually the Antichrist. No one is a better Antichrist than me. I tempted Adam and Eve to eat the fruit. I tempted Jesus in the wilderness. Nobody knows more about tempting Jesus than I do.
There is no other Antichrist besides me. I'm probably, most likely, not 100%, but most probably, possibly.
Nobody's better than tempting Jesus than I am. Okay, well, now that we have Trump admitting that he's the Antichrist, you heard it yourselves. The end of the world can finally start, and I'll read off some predictions for the end times by various cultures. Hindu mythology describes the end of the world as a cyclical event, with the current universe undergoing destruction and rebirth in an eternal cycle. The cycle is known as kalpas. The Aztecs believe in a series of suns or worlds, each representing a different era, much like the Mayans. They believe that the current world would end in a catastrophic event such as an earthquake or a flood. In Buddhist eschatology, the end of the world is not a singular event, but rather a part of the cycle of birth, decay, and rebirth. So we see many of these.
All of them are
recognized
cycles
as
except
cycles.
Christians.
Well, not so quick. The teachings of Buddha emphasize the impermanence of all things. The Mayans believed in cycles of time and predicted the significant changes at the end of each cycle. Their calendar sparked widespread interest in 2012. Oh wait, I actually read that earlier. The ancient Egyptians believed in the cycle of nature and time and the importance of maintaining malat, the balance and order, to prevent chaos and the collapse of the world. So one could say in the Egyptian frame of thinking that our actions actually held it off. Chaos. One could, I think perhaps they like our actions, the order, like keeping the world, society in order, that sustains the world as we know it. And if we cause that to collapse, the world would, because much in a lot of these ancient cultures and their stories, they're talking about like this dichotomy between civilized culture, civilization, and a more archaic hunter-gatherer way of living. And a lot of times they would establish the beginning of the world as like the civilized world. Cities, buildings, order. And the non-existence of that is like the end of the world. And then we have... This is one will be a bit longer. This is the end of the world in Islam. The end of the world is a significant event known as the Day of Judgment, or Qiyamah. I don't know if I pronounced that right, so I apologize if I didn't. According to Islamic beliefs, the end of the world will be preceded by signs and events, including the appearance of the Mahdi, a guided one, and Jesus, Isa in Islam, who will work together to bring about the period of peace and justice. And yes, Jesus will be killing and kicking ass in this battle.
Team Jesus.
The Qiyamah will be marked by a series of catastrophic events, including the blowing of the trumpet. So a lot of this is going to line up with the Bible.
Trumpets.
Which will be the signal of resurrection of all souls. All individuals will be judged based on their deeds, and the ultimate fate will be determined by their actions. The righteous will be rewarded with paradise, Yana, while the wicked will be punished in hellfire. Yohanam, or when that word Yahanam is probably connected to the word Hinnom, the valley of Gehenna. Islamic teachings emphasize the importance of living a virtuous life, following the Quran, the Hadith, and the sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad, and preparing for the hereafter. The specifics of the end time described in the Quran and the Hadith, providing framework for Muslims to understand the events leading up to the Day of Judgment and the importance of spiritual preparedness. So we see that in the Islamic end times, Jesus does play a role. In Islam, they do see him as a prophet, the Messiah, Son of God, but not in the way that Christians do. More of the Son of God in the sense of, like, we're all sons of God. And Messiah, but not in the ways, again, as Christians do, where Christians kind of make the Messiah like a divine salvation, godlike figure, where in the Islam and Judaism, the Messiah is recognized more as just a hero, basically. A hero who will serve, he fights for God. He's God's anointed servant. But yeah, in many of these, the end just points towards a cycle.
And a new beginning.
Which, you know.
Arguably, you could say that eternity is the new beginning for the Bible, too. And throw that into the cyclical mix.
Well, in some creation stories, we have a God approaching a world that's almost pre-existent. And they're just putting
this is true.
It into order. You know, the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the deep. Darkness covered the face of the deep. You know, there's these elements that all seem pre-existent.
So like, what is the deep?
And the God figure just brought everything into order.
What if everything is just based off water and like gravity and like atmosphere? There's water that makes up all of our bodies, almost like 70-something%. What if it's just like even gravity? What if it's just a matter of buoyancy? Like we're heavier than the air, which is also water, but we're not heavier than the earth, which could also be. Well, I don't know. Just speculating.
I know water is very critical in the Sumerian creation story too, which mirrors a lot of early ones.
All of them, honestly, many of them, not all of them, but many of them put a strong emphasis on this god of order battling a sea serpent in the waters of chaos, and then from the body, so we see that in Ragnarok. A thunder god in particularly battling the sea serpent that held the world together. In the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation story, we have Marduk fighting Tiamat, and with her body that he dashes into pieces, he creates the known world. In the Baal
we're
cycle,
all on the back of the being that he slayed.
In the Baal cycle, we have another thunder god battling another sea serpent, Yom, in the waters, and again, dashing them into pieces. And then in the Bible, we have Yahweh. In, I believe it's Psalm 74, we have Yahweh battling the Leviathan. It says at the beginning of the world. And using his body to feed the inhabitants of the wilderness.
It says that in Psalms?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we discussed this on the episode with D. Francisco.
I think I also referenced the serpent of old in Revelation, right?
Yes.
That was one thing when the Epic of Gilgamesh crossover, which I know you guys did the episode on, the crossover of the serpent coming and stealing his plant by the water.
Yes.
Similar to like the serpent in Genesis coming and taking away what had been set up as good.
Well, while we're talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh and similarities between that and the Bible, one that I thought of after we did the episode, this is episode 10, if you want to go back and listen to it. At the beginning, Jonathan will say it's episode 14. It is indeed not episode 14. It was episode 14, but there's some episodes we've recorded that will not see the light of day. Maybe will be released to a select audience.
We'll make like some kind of premium thing later, and
yeah,
you'll get all those.
But so yes, in this episode, we're talking about similarities between the Bible and the Epic of Gilgamesh, and we have this one part where the gods, they're angry at Enkidu and Gilgamesh, and they send the Bull of Heaven. And the Bull of Heaven drinks up the waters of the Euphrates and the surrounding rivers.
And then Enkidu kills it.
Creates a 7-year drought. Okay, so this is actually
Sounds
similar
like Daniel.
to the Bible in the sense of not Daniel, Joseph.
Oh, the Pharaoh's
Yeah.
dream of the famine that's going to come.
Yeah, 7-year famine.
When Joseph was put in prison, they were trying to interpret the Pharaoh's dreams, and they had all the magicians and everybody come out, and they couldn't
bulls.
figure it out.
Yeah,
and
these
then one
heifers.
guy was like, "Hey, Joseph's sitting over here in prison. He probably could interpret it for you." And they bring him out, and sure enough, he interprets it.
And the dream was there was 7 healthy cows dwelling by the river, and then
7 sickly, thin cows.
ghastly, ugly, thin cows come up out of the water, and they eat the healthy cows.
I thought the fat ones ate the skinny ones.
Nope.
Oh.
Because the skinny ones represent 7 years of famine. The fat ones represent 7 years of plenty. And then the 7 ugly ones come out of the river and gobble up the big cows. Still look skinny, according to Joseph, or according to Pharaoh's dream. So, yeah.
Then Potiphar gives him like all kinds of goodies for interpreting the dream.
Makes you wonder if those two stories, if not inspired by one another, were inspired by a similar 7-year drought that had happened in the ancient world.
Interesting.
Yes. So, that, unless anyone has any extra thoughts to share, will conclude. That is the end of the end. All right. So, musical suggestions.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Steely, go first. You're the guest today.
Okay, I've been on a reggae kick lately, so I will say
Hell yeah.
Inner Circle
Hell yeah, man.
or Slightly Stupid.
Oh, man. No Bob Marley?
I like Bob Marley. I just think tying him strictly to reggae kind of reduces it.
I like that. So my song suggestions will be, to go in the same vein of this episode, The End is the Beginning is the End by the Smashing Pumpkins. And then another one would be The End by the Doors. It's a good song.
I think you should check out Eternity by Nate Visen. That one's pretty good. Oh, man, I don't know. I always pull out these obscure artists, so I'm going to keep the theme and say I've been listening to Justina Valentine lately. It's a chick rapper with bright red hair. Can't mistake her.
Chick rapper.
She's like I don't know who to compare her to, man. Maybe like Nicki Minaj, but more lyrical. More focus on the rap genre as an art form than a lot of other people.
I kind of like that.
She's got an album called Feminem where she does she does a lot of Eminem beats and just rewrites them for her.
So, let's wrap up the end.
Wrap it up like safe sex.
Yes. Be responsible, kids. Let's keep, while being responsible, let's keep traversing this strange world with inquisitiveness and curiosity. Let's remember to be neighborly towards folks.
Treat people how you want to be treated.
Yes, sir. Because at the end of the day, we're all just strangers in a strange land.
That's so cute when we do that together.
It is. I like it. So until next time, peace.
Toodles.
Steel.
Hell yeah.
And because it's such a perfectly fitting song with today's topic, here's one by a local rapper you might know. Goes by the name of Nate Visen. It's an apocalypse song about the end of the world when the power grid gets shut down. Lights Go Out by Nate Visen. Enjoy. Go out and they cut the juice, and you got no power, what you gonna do? Violence ain't crazy, we'll be running loose, and how you prepare for it's up to you. The elite want control and it's nothing new. When it comes to it could be done to you, they'll use their money, license, subterfuge, and there's no line and they don't care what you suffer through. When that day comes you'll be lucky to have your own forest gardens, guns, and food. Never before will you have had such abuse from the elite, saying you better know somebody who has what you need, and they'll put you to work and keep you somewhat safer from out on top, crooked and worse, never know the real truth that they love to pervert. When the lights go out all across the land, will you fall right down or have a cause to stand up for as they kill one more? It's the raw, uncut war for the common man. When you're beaten with rocks, people throwing wrenches, and you eat from a pot on the broken benches. When they fight dirty and you don't find mercy, when there's no light burning in the lowest trenches. When the lights go out and you're stuck in your house, and the panic and people are all running around to find the well off and start gunning them down. What are you gonna do when it comes to your town? When you step outside and hear nothing but sounds of desperate cries and see blood on the ground, will you be surprised and cover your mouth, or will you thrive before your luck is run out? You can't call your family or your friends to make plans, no communication in the end of days, and you live off the food that you get in a can. No bargaining power or a leg you may stand on with your money or your social status. When that day's coming, you won't hope you had it. You'll be out running from the local traffic as everybody's hunting till they close the casket. When the lights go out all across the land, will you fall right down or have a cause to stand up for as they kill one more? It's the raw, uncut war for the common man. When you're beaten with rocks, people throwing wrenches, and you eat from a pot on the broken benches. When they fight dirty and you don't find mercy, when there's no light burning in the lowest trenches. When the lights go out and there's nothing left and the stores are robbed clean, tell me what is next. You can't pump gas cause the pumps are dead, and you watch the people die who hope for luck instead. The first ones to go were those stuck in bed, followed by the ones not tough enough to get a gun in their hands before a gun they met. And that's the fate to usher them all up to death. If you're stuck in the city, go back on love and the pity of those that hate and are making it happen. They do it quicker by pulling the trigger if they knew it wouldn't make and create a reaction in all the people to purge out the evil by shooting and spraying their brains on a napkin. You gotta prepare and always beware of the people creating this place that we're trapped in. When the lights go out all across the land, will you fall right down or have a cause to stand up for as they kill one more? It's the raw, uncut war for the common man. When you're beaten with rocks, people throwing wrenches, and you eat from a pot on the broken benches. When they fight dirty and you don't find mercy, when there's no light burning in the lowest trenches. Across the land, will you fall right down or have a cause to stand up for as they kill one more? It's the raw, uncut war for the common man. When you're beaten with rocks, people throwing wrenches, and you eat from a pot on the broken benches. When they fight dirty and you don't find mercy, when there's no light burning in the lowest trenches. Lights go out.
If you would like to contact us, email us at peaceandtoodles@gmail.com. Until next time, salutations, my fellow strangers.
What will they think of next?